computer. All right. Good evening, everybody. This is Cristina Campbell, and it's so great to see you guys on tonight. You know, this is a really, really great subject, and I'm glad to see, you know, the people who are interested in respiratory health on here tonight. That is really important. I am a nationally registered certified master aromatherapist. I have been studying oils for 23 years this year, since 1999. They have become my passion, my life. They've given me a, you know, it was like a calling for me. So, you know, God puts out things for us to choose. And when we follow his guidance, we are blessed hugely abundantly. Would you not agree? It says in John, it says, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in good health. And I got that blessing. I got that blessing when I found Young Living. It's a huge blessing. And so the research that Pam and I did on the healthy respiratory system is going to give you a really good background in respiratory health, respiratory illnesses, and how you can keep your respiratory system above the wellness line. But more importantly, well, that is the most important, above the wellness line. And if you have a weakness in the area of the respiratory system, then you'll have the arsenal to help you to gain that health back. So we're going to talk about the importance of clean air, how the respiratory system functions, what causes respiratory infections. And remember, SARS and this particular flu virus that we have called COVID right now, these are respiratory viruses. So that's why it's really, really important to be on this class, so that you really understand how to support that respiratory system. So ways to support the respiratory system, and then steps to heal from chronic respiratory illnesses. And there's a difference between acute and chronic. Acute is something that happens now and it ends tomorrow. Or it's just a injury that happens. Chronic means that it's ongoing and it's difficult to fix. So we're going to talk about some steps to heal chronic respiratory illnesses. And we're going to talk about the effects of toxic chemicals. And you'll be happy to know, Denise, that we will be talking about thieves a little bit, not a whole lot, not the whole shebang, but we will be talking about thieves. So what is respiration? Respiration is the process of the lungs expanding and contracting, and it supplies us with life-sustaining oxygen and removes waste products. And the waste products that it removes, we inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. And, you know, God is so good. He made it so that what we exhale, our waste product, is what the green trees love. They thrive on carbon dioxide and they give us oxygen. So it is just such a synergistic, you know, we're all one, we're all a family, we're all joined together somehow, some way. And it's beautiful. God's plan is perfect. So the respiratory process starts in the nose, and there in the nose, there are small hairs, and these are called cilia, and they keep the air passages clean and they filter out particles. So then from the nose, it travels into the windpipe or the trachea, and then it's divided into two air passages, and these air passages are called bronchial tubes. Bronchial tubes pass through the lungs into smaller air passages called bronchioles. Bronchioles. Here's a picture of that. It says over 300 million alveoli act as filters in these bronchioles. So mucus in the trachea and bronchial tubes will keep our air passages moist, stopping dust and bacteria and viruses and allergy-causing symptoms as substances as well. And any other thing that, you know, wasn't planned for our lungs. That's what that does, that mucus, and it actually sweeps it out. It sweeps it out. Impurities reaching deeper parts of the lungs are moved up via that mucus, and then we cough it out. That's how we're getting rid of it. And then if you swallow what you're coughing up, then it's going to go into your stomach. It's not going to go back into your lungs. You know, so if you just got a little, you know, tickle in your throat, it's your lungs cleaning them out. And then, you know, you can either spit it out or put it in a tissue or, you know, or swallow it, because the hydrochloric acid and other things in the stomach will kill any bacteria, usually, if our immune system is strong. So here's the respiratory process continued. The heart pumps the blood and provides oxygen to the cells of the tissues and organs. And then carbon dioxide is produced and absorbed into the blood. And then the blood carries that carbon dioxide back into your lungs through the capillaries, and the carbon dioxide is moved from the body through exhalation or exhaling. And you can see here are the lungs. We're breathing in, and the oxygen from the inhaled air passes through the alveoli walls into the blood. It is a very complex process, but again, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And, you know, we are made in his image and in perfection. And it's amazing what our bodies do without us even thinking about it. It is absolutely a miracle. Anytime a baby is born, it's a miracle. So accessory respiratory organs are the diaphragm. That is an accessory respiratory organ. And you can see the diaphragm here. It's a musculature, and it's that muscle underneath the lungs. It's a large dome-shaped muscle under those lungs, and it contracts, and it will create a vacuum that causes a rush of air into the lungs. And then the opposite occurs upon exhalation. The diaphragm relaxes and the lungs deflate. So it works really well to get that carbon dioxide out and that oxygen in. So let's talk a little bit about some respiratory disorders. Now you understand, you know, what the respiratory system looks like, what, you know, pieces, parts are involved. And now we want to talk about some of those chronic illnesses. So Elizabeth Barrett Browning, who is a poet, wrote, "He lives most life who breathes most air." Breathing is so, so important. And when we have impeded breathing, it really does affect our quality of life. So asthma is a respiratory disorder that affects more than 300 million people worldwide. That's a lot of people. And that research was done quite a few years ago, because you guys know I've been teaching this particular class for quite a while. It may have gone up, that number. But the symptoms of asthma include coughing and wheezing and chest tightness, feeling feeling like you're not able to get enough air. Your airways will become inflamed and narrow and filled with mucus, and symptoms and triggers are different for everyone. Some of the causes can be allergens, cold air, exercise, or emotional stress. So you should apply the oils for asthma to the soles of the feet or the chest, or ingest them. Breathing them in, inhaling them, is not the first choice when you're treating asthma with oils. Now, I'm just going to take this time tonight and mention as well that allergies, because it says allergens can cause asthma, that allergies are caused by damaged DNA because we have either become sensitive to certain pollens or danders or foods or whatever, and it has damaged our DNA, so our bodies produce more histamine than we should normally, in a normal, healthy environment produce. The thing that I want you to take note of when I talk about allergies is that lavender oil is the #1 oil for reducing and reversing damaged DNA caused by allergens. In other words, if you've been allergic for 36 years, it may take 18 months to reverse that damaged DNA by using lavender every single time you're symptomatic. Now, how do you use lavender when you're symptomatic with asthma? I know that some of you have heard me talk about this so many times that you could probably teach this class, but I'm just going to review it for a moment. Take a drop of lavender oil and put it on the tip of your tongue and place the tongue to the roof of your mouth and hold it there for about 10-15 seconds. That way it goes right up into that palate and into the brain and into the bloodstream, and it will begin to go in at a cellular level to repair the damaged DNA, to bring back the blueprint of the DNA before it was damaged by chemicals or mostly chemicals, environmental pollution, environmental chemicals, our cleaning products and all that. And if you're exposed to them as babies, as very small children, it's no wonder that we have so many asthmatic children. And so get all those chemicals out of your home and begin to use lavender oil with that child. You can put it in a little bit of local honey, and if they'll hold it in their mouth, fine. If they won't, it's going to go into the bloodstream. Put a drop of lavender and a teaspoon of local honey and have them take it that way if they're a child. But as an adult, you can put a drop of lavender oil on the tip of your tongue, and it's not the best tasting, but hey, it's way better than suffering with other 3 million people with asthma, right? Let's get rid of the allergens if that's what's exacerbating your asthma. But I'm going to talk about some other things that are good for asthma too. I've got a great testimonial from a good friend on here. So let's talk a little bit about acute and chronic bronchitis. Now, remember, I said acute is something that just happens. It's short-lived, where chronic is it stays with you. What bronchitis is it's inflammation of the membrane lining of those bronchial tubes. We don't want any inflammation in those bronchial tubes. The symptoms are a chronic a chronic cough, mucus or clear white, yellowish, gray, or green in color because we have an infection, shortness of breath made worse by mild exertion. You're going to have wheezing, fatigue, slight fever, possibly with it, and chills and chest discomfort. Your chest is going to feel sore. Like I used to say, like I've been beat about the body with a baseball bat. I had pneumonia one time when I was at the farm in Idaho, Highland Flats. And I'll tell you what, talk about lung pain, rib cage pain. Again, the causes are allergies, environmental toxins, and or an infection, and you got the infection because your vibration aligned with the bacteria or virus, And we talked about that in the 7th Heaven class. And your immune system was not powered up to where it should be. Okay, let's talk about emphysema. This is a chronic illness, and it is where the air sacs, or those alveoli that I was talking to you about, those little bitty grape-like bunches of air sacs, get enlarged and they get damaged. And some of the symptoms are shortness of breath, rapid breathing and wheezing, chronic cough without any mucus or moistness. Because you're struggling to breathe, you're going to have overinflated lungs, and people with emphysema have what they call the barrel chest. And causes of emphysema are smoking, a deficiency of alpha-1 antitrypsin, or AAT, and this would be an inherited condition. Industrial pollutants, which are non-tobacco related, physical damage caused by an accident, and scarring from whooping cough, acute bronchial pneumonia, tuberculosis, and asthma. Another one is a URI, or an upper respiratory infection. And this is what COVID usually causes, a URI. Infections affecting the throat, sinuses, larynx, trachea, and the bronchi. The symptoms are coughing, runny nose, nasal congestion, or postnasal drip. That's dripping down the back of your throat, and it can make it very raw. Sneezing and coughing, a sore, scratchy throat, painful swallowing, that's that rawness. A malaise and fever. Malaise meaning I just don't have the energy to do anything. I'm just exhausted. And it can last from 2 to 14 days, but it can linger for several weeks. If you don't get that immune system built back up, if you don't take precautions to treat that URI, you are going to suffer with it long term. The cause of URIs are virus related, and there are over 200 different viruses that enter our country annually. And flu vaccines are not effective for URIs. There you go. I said it. Cystic fibrosis, another chronic respiratory disease. It's a glue-like mucus which builds up, and it affects the intestines, the pancreas, and especially the lungs. And there are a lot of symptoms. I will say that this is an inherited disease due to a mutation in a gene, and there is no known cure. However, I have a gal in my organization. Well, her mother is in my organization, and she is a teenager, and she contracted or inherited this gene. And so she has been suffering with it for most of her little life. And RC is her go-to. It has increased her oxygen production by 80%. And that's from her mother. So that is really, really great news. We may not be able to fix it. And I don't know that that's true, because, you know, Western medicine says that there is no known cure, but God is the great healer. And he chose to use these oils as healing medicine, you know, back in Leviticus. And they were brought to the Christ child in Exodus, and they were used throughout the Bible. And so I don't agree all the time that there's no known cure. I think God's healing hand can change any illness into health, pure health. So you can read that list of symptoms. If you know of anybody who has cystic fibrosis, you're familiar with those symptoms. And we'll go on to pharyngitis. So pharyngitis, remember, anything with itis on the end is inflammatory. It has inflammation. So pharyngitis is inflammation of the throat. So you're going to have a sore, red throat. It's going to feel like you have a lump in your throat. You may have a fever associated with it. Your lymph glands around your throat are going to be swollen because they're trying to do their best job at fighting off anything that's causing this bacterial infection or viral infection. You're going to have difficulty and pain swallowing. So the causes are 90% is viral. It can be bacterial. For example, tonsillitis or strep throat can turn into pharyngitis or be a part of pharyngitis. And it can be related to the minor illness of a cold or flu. Injuries or irritants such as smoking, postnasal drip, allergies, and inhalation of toxic chemicals are some of the irritants. SARS. Okay, so you know that COVID is a mutation or a form of SARS, right? This is a severe, acute, it doesn't last forever, respiratory disease of unknown etiology. Well, we know that this particular COVID was created by humans, and then it was deployed somehow through humans, and it spread across our planet. The symptoms are fever, dry cough, shortness of breath, or difficulty breathing. It appears in usually 3 to 7 days, but may be as long as 10 days once you're exposed, if your immune system aligns with it, if your vibrational frequency aligns with the frequency of that virus. It is a virus, and it's spread mainly through the contact with affected saliva, droplets from coughing, or sharing food or drink. And that's why they say, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And if you cough, cover your mouth and go wash your hands. Pneumonia. It's a lower respiratory tract infection, which may not require antibiotics. So the symptoms are cough, fever and chills, shortness of breath, and chest pain. Remember, I talked about feeling like I had been beat about the body with a baseball bat. Absolutely. I was weak. I was tired. I don't know what my heart rate was. Gary had a stethoscope and he was listening to my lungs. He was probably listening to my heart as well, but he didn't tell me if I had a fast heart rate. You can have diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting. A lot of times the vomiting and nausea will happen because you're coughing so hard. Mild symptoms are called walking pneumonia, and it usually clears up within 2 or 3 weeks unless you do a really heavy duty oil protocol like I did, and it was cleared up within 2 or 3 days. So not all pneumonia is bacterial. I think what happened to me is I got exhausted from overdoing it. I was chainsawing trees. I was cutting trees down with a chainsaw, and I was in my late 50s. That was about 10 years ago now. Gail probably knows exactly what year it was. But I had just run my, I had run my race, and I was exhausted and I got sick. So I allowed my, when I overworked my body, I allowed my immune system to be compromised. And I'm sure that just exhaustion lowered my vibrational frequency. So here's a couple of testimonials. One is from Margie out of Ohio. And she said, I could easily get walking pneumonia every fall and every winter. And I would go through a series of antibiotics and feel okay for a while, and then back to more walking pneumonia. I started to fill a veggie cap, and I just ordered another 250 veggie caps because I didn't realize it. I went to make myself some capsules today, and I was empty, not a capsule left. So you can order 250 capsules for $7.50, I think, from Young Living. Put it on your subscribe to save, and you'll have capsules in your house for a very long time, but you will eventually use them all, as I have. So she put oregano, thieves, lemongrass, and emu power in this veggie cap. Now that's powerful, but that's what it takes. It takes power to get rid of things like pneumonia. So she was experimenting, and she is happy to report that they worked very well for her. She's so happy she tried them. And now when I feel congestion coming on, I know these oils will do the trick. Another testimonial from Christy Andrews out of Wyoming. She says, my first experience with Young Living oils was in 1999, the same year I came in, when I was very ill with pneumonia. My doctor wanted to hospitalize me and use IV antibiotics, to which I refused both. So a friend brought Thieves and Raven to me, telling me to put Thieves on my chest and Raven all over the bottom of my feet, and use Raven all over my chest and Thieves all over the bottom of my feet. Again, when I went to bed, which is exactly what I did. The next morning, I awakened all but totally well, and I was astounded at the healing that had taken place. I have been using these oils ever since and always will. Christy, I always will too, because they work. And I do the same thing. I haven't felt under the weather in, gosh, a couple of years now. Every once in a while, at the end of the day, I'll just feel like, oh my gosh, if I don't do something, I'm going to come down with something. I don't come down with it, but I'll take a hot bath, and everybody knows this testimony. I'll take a hot bath, and then I'll rub ImmuPower, that really powerful oil blend, on the bottom of my feet, and I'll go to bed, and that hot bath will cause me to sweat, and I will wake up in the morning and I will be fine. It happens every time. I just need to get those oils in my body, and I need to rest, and I need to open up those pores so that I'll absorb those oils even better. And that's what the hot bath does. Okay, chemical pneumonia. Now this is a little bit different because this is inflammation of lung tissue, which was directly caused by poisons or toxins that you breathed in. And a good example of this is ammonia and ammonia and bleach mixed together. That's why I do not have either one of those products in my home, and haven't for over 20 years. They can cause chemical pneumonia. They are toxic to the lungs. So you're going to get burning of the eyes and nose, lips, mouth, and throat. You're going to get a dry cough. You're going to get chest pain and painful breathing and nausea. The causes, there are symptoms including liquids or gases and small particles such as dust or fumes. Chemical pneumonia can be caused by fires, smoke inhalation, and can actually weaken the heart. So this is something to really take seriously. Stay away from anything that's going to cause chemical pneumonia. High levels of chlorine, bleach, in a small room may even cause respiratory failure or even death. That's how toxic these are. So factors that determine the severity of signs and symptoms are the type and strength of the chemical, the length of exposure, the exposure environment. Like if you're in a shower and you're cleaning the shower with bleach, that is a very close encounter with that poison, and that's going to be severe. Any prior medical conditions, if you're using protective measures, like if you're wearing a mask or gloves or whatever, and the form of chemical, whether it's a gas, a vapor, a particulate, or a liquid. Okay, so the last chronic disease that we're going to cover is TB, or tuberculosis. This is an infectious bacterial disease, and it's transmitted through the air that mainly affects the lungs. About 10% of people infected develop TB. So many people are carriers. They carry the bacteria, but only 10% are ever affected by it. Many of those who suffer with TB do so in the first few years following the infection, but the bacillus may lie dormant in the body for decades. This is why it's so important to get a raindrop. When I first got into Young Living in June of 1999, by November, I still hadn't used the Thieves oil, right? And because I didn't know anything about it. I had started out with the Essential 7, which was lemon, lavender, peppermint, peace and calming, purification, pan away, and joy. and none of those ring of thieves, right? And I was enjoying those oils and using them. And then I got the bath gels, and I got the Seventh Heaven kit, which had Awaken and Dreamcatcher and all the ones that we talked about the other night, Gathering. But I'd never had thieves, and I got strep throat. And I went to base and I had the culture, and yes, indeed. And they gave me an antibiotic because I didn't know enough about Young Living or essential oils to know that we had an oil for that. I didn't know that much. I'd only been in a couple of months. That's why it's so important to get your new people to this training. How else are they going to know? They just can't, simulate it by osmosis of the air, of the airwaves. They have to be taught. And I love to teach. So be on my classes or ask me for a particular training, and I'll do it just for you. I'll either send you a text training or a video or something, but I will train you. But anyway, back to my strep throat. So I took it for 10 days, and 3 days after that round of antibiotics was over, I had strep again. So I called the clinic and I said, what is up with this? And they said, well, you have an antibiotic resistant strain of strep, and you're going to have to come on down and get the strongest oral antibiotic that we have. And oh, by the way, we're going to give you a diflucan because you're going to get a yeast infection because it's going to kill all of the good bacteria. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to deal with this on my own. And I called my oil lady and I said, do we have an oil for that? And she said, overnight. That was the key word. Don't wait. Overnight yourself a bottle of Thieves, a bottle of Super C. And I said, okay, done and done. It cost me $21 to overnight it. But to me, it was worth it. I took and put drops of that Thieves oil in the back of my throat every couple of hours. Within 72 hours, that strep was gone completely. But this is why I wanted to bring up this story. It says in this slide, but the bacillus may lie dormant in the body for decades. Strep does the same thing. And when your immune system is compromised, that strep will raise its ugly head, and then you're going to have to deal with it again. That's why we have teenagers with chronic strep. They just don't get the bacteria out of their system. But I will tell you this, that 22 years later, as of last November, I have never gotten strep again as I sit here before God. And it's because I believe that I got rid of that dormant bacteria. And I know that that's what raindrops will do. It will kill dormant bacteria such as TB or strep or shingles virus or any virus for that matter. I believe it. I know it to be true. So that's my story on strep. That's my take on these bacteria that lie dormant, and they lie dormant in the synovial fluid along the spine, in the spine, because it's nourishing to them. It's warm in there, and it's a really great place to live. And I don't want them living there. So I'm going to use my oils and I'm going to get rid of them. They have to find another home. And that's the way you should feel too. Okay, so let's talk about more oils that are going to support and relieve the respiratory system. Okay, the first one I'm going to talk about is frankincense. And I don't know why I chose frankincense. Well, I do know why. Frankincense and asthma. Yeah, and we're going to have a testimony. So this is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Now remember, there are chronic and acute diseases, respiratory diseases, that have inflammation associated with them. We read about them. I shared that with you. So we need oils that are anti-inflammatory, and frankincense is that. It's also antibacterial, it's antitumoral, it's antiviral, and it's antifungal. It calms and reduces anxiety, and it deepens cellular respiration. It's an expectorant. It helps you get rid of that mucus and get out that debris and that bacteria. It relieves coughing, and it's an antiseptic to the respiratory tract. So using frankincense on a daily basis, both by anointing your head with it because it's so good for that spiritual connection, but rubbing your chest with it. I say this to the women, rubbing the girls with it if you want to have prevention from any, breast anomalies. Yeah, frankincense is great. It is an immune stimulant. So as we know, lemon oil increases the white blood cell count in the bone marrow. Frankincense can do the same thing. And so if you use those two oils together, whoa, you got a double whammy. And frankincense has been known to be an antidepressant. So it helps to uplift the spirits. And, if you are not living in happiness and joy, you're missing the experience that God wants you to have here on this planet. If you are suffering with depression, call me and let's talk about an oil protocol that you can start using every single day to get your mind right, to get you out of that funk and get you on the path to your purpose. Okay, hyssop is another great oil. This is a biblical oil. This was used by the children of Israel when they were leaving Egypt. They, it was the night of the Passover. The death angel was coming through, and God told them to take a hyssop branch and to strike the lintels and the doorposts of their doorways. And what this did when they struck it, and they dipped it in the blood of the slaughtered lamb, and when they struck those doorposts, those aromatic molecules clung and stayed around that door, causing it to be antibacterial, antiseptic, and antiviral, and protect them from whatever plague was coming through with the death angel. I believe that at my core. Hyssop is a decongestant. It's an anti-inflammatory. So again, if you're suffering with asthma, this is a good oil to use on the lungs. It is an expectorant. It liquefies the mucus and allows it to come out. It relieves bronchial spasms. And a lot of times when we're in a coughing jag, we'll get those spasms. So we need to relieve those. We need to calm that down. And it's effective for treating colds, sore throats, flu, bronchitis, and asthma. I got this information from an old book from 1995 that was part of my aromatherapy course. And it's hard to find now, but if you're interested in, just having more resources, look up The Complete Guide to Aromatherapy by Salvatore Battaglia, 1995. Okay, so here's the testimonial from my good friend, Loretta. And it's funny because usually when I do a respiratory class, Loretta shows up, but I don't see her on here tonight. And I just love having her give the testimony, but it's good. It's all good. So when I met Loretta in 2007, she was going in for breathing treatments into the hospital at least once a year, and sometimes multiple times a year. Here in St. Louis, and Loretta's from East St. Louis, the humidity and heat in the summertime is overwhelming. And for an asthmatic, they can't get their air. So that's why she would go in and get her breathing techniques, her breathing treatments. So they had given her a rescue inhaler and then a regular inhaler. And she was actually overusing it, but not knowing that she was overusing it. She was just trying to breathe, right? So she was using this. And her doctor told her that she could have killed herself because she was using it too frequently. Well, he wants her to come in for a breathing treatment. So I she's telling me the story, and I'm saying to her, Loretta, I think I have an oil for that. Would you be willing to use frankincense and hyssop? And so she said, sure, yeah, I want to get to know these oils anyway. And yeah, sure. So let's use those. So she started rubbing them on her feet, because that was what I taught a long time ago. Just rub it on your feet. The feet are the largest pores on the body, and the uptake into the bloodstream is within 3 seconds to 20 minutes. Rub it on your feet, rub it on your feet. And that is a good place. But because of, you know, the proximity of lungs to the chest, and the breathing, she said she got some relief on the feet, but she said then she started rubbing it on her chest, both hyssop and frankincense. And she actually has a very particular testimonial in that she says, I can feel the frankincense relaxing my lungs, and then I feel the hyssop opening up the airways. So she has not had a breathing treatment or used her inhaler since 2007. She goes to hyssop and frankincense. She has not had asthma problems since. What a blessing it is to have God's oils in our presence. That is a pretty strong testimonial for an asthmatic. And her doctor actually told her that, see, when she had boys, she had a couple of boys, and as they were growing up, she was very fastidious about her cleaning habits. She would use Lysol on everything. She would bleach down everything, their high chairs, their crib mattresses. I mean, she was just like a fastidious housekeeper. And he said it was those chemicals, especially airborne chemicals like Lysol and Oust and Febreze. All of those have detrimental outcomes to respiratory health. So he told her straight up, don't use that stuff. Another really great oil to support the respiratory system is peppermint. It's a pain reliever. It's a fever reducer. It's an effective expectorant, getting that mucus out. It alleviates spasms. It opens up the respiratory tract. It inhibits growth of pathogenic bacteria. These studies have been done. It provides instantaneous relief, especially if you have respiratory congestion, you know, nasal congestion, sinus congestion. All these sinus cavities are just full of mucus, and you want to get rid of them. You want to get rid of that mucus, but it feels like concrete. All you have to do, if you can tolerate it, take that peppermint oil and rub it around those eyes, around on those sinus cavities, breathe it in, put it behind your ear, up and down that eustachian tube, because a lot of times your ears are even clogged up from all that mucus. If you can't take it neat, that's straight, then you want to dilute it. You want to dilute it. So dilute it and then see what you can tolerate, because the more the better, and you will open up within 5 to 15 minutes. I guarantee it. And you will start to run, and those sinuses will empty. It provides instantaneous relief. You can rub it on the chest. You can put it under the nose. Like I said, around those sinuses, if you can tolerate that peppermint on your skin, because it is a hot oil. And if not, just have that V6 close, or coconut oil, or coconut oil, or olive oil, or grapeseed oil, and have it close, and then just use a lot of oil. But get that peppermint in a place where it's going to start acting. Sheila Perez from Massachusetts said, I had an upper respiratory infection that turned into chronic rhinosinusitis. Itis is an inflammation. I was stuffy for 3 months, not being able to breathe through my nose. I had tried many herbs and steams and snuffs and oils without success until I found peppermint. I put 2 drops. This is another way. 2 drops on my tongue, and I put my tongue to the roof of my mouth. And in a few minutes, I was breathing through my nose. And every time I got stuffy, after this, I repeated the process. I started with a few times a day, And in 3 days, I was better. So right now, I have peppermint in my water. I have 2 drops of peppermint, and I have 3 drops of citrus fresh in my water. Because I did a Zyto on me today, and it said I needed tangerine and peppermint. My body does. So I'm starting to drink that in my water, every glass of water. 2 other really, really great oils for the respiratory support is Eucalyptus radiata, which is in Thieves, and Eucalyptus globulus. Now, Eucalyptus globulus is my favorite oil if I'm making a cough syrup. How do I make the cough syrup? I put 1 teaspoon of local honey, and I put a couple of drops of Eucalyptus globulus in there, and I suck that in my mouth and let it soothe and coat my throat. Eucalyptus globulus is great for mucus thinner and expectorant. It's an antispasmodic, both of them are, and so it will stop that coughing, and it just seems to soothe the inflammation, and it's a nasal and respiratory decongestion. Both of those are. Okay, and here are the immune modifying and antimicrobial effects. This is an alternative medical review that was done in 2010. Good stuff. Eucalyptus Blue is one of the oils that Only Young Living provides because we grow it on our farm in Ecuador, and I've seen the beautiful plants down there. It is a blue and green leaf. It's gorgeous. It when I had pneumonia at the farm at Highland Flats, Eucalyptus Blue was one of the oils that Gary recommended. It was myrrh, Eucalyptus Blue, and Palo Santo, I think, is the oils that I used to get over my. And I was to take a capsule of those every hour for the first 12 hours, I think. Yeah, from 5 to 5, from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And by that night, I was able to sit with Gary at the dinner table. And he asked me what I felt like, and I said, I feel like crap. And he said, well, you look a lot better. And by the morning, I have to say I was 80% better. It was amazing what those oils did. I ingested so many oils that the oils were going in one end and literally in the toilet coming out the other end. So you have to saturate your body sometimes when you're treating an illness like this. Eucalyptus Blue is healing to the throat, the lung, and the sinus infections. Eucalyptus Blue has the highest amount of alpha-pinene, which is highly antimicrobial. It's an expectorant again, and it supports normal respiratory function, and it's anti-inflammatory. So what Gary did was he took some beautiful oils and he put them all together and made a respiratory condition or respiratory congestion blend. That's what RC stands for. This blend contains Eucalyptus globulus, myrtle, spruce, Eucalyptus radiata, Eucalyptus citrodora, peppermint, pine, lavender, marjoram, and cypress. Cypress increases circulation. Marjoram is great for smooth muscle mass. It relaxes smooth muscle. And all the rest of them are just so great to support the respiratory system in general. It decongests the sinus passages and relieves allergy symptoms. It is because it has lavender in it, right? What did I say about allergies and lavender, right? It's anti-infectious, antibacterial. It reduces infections in the throat and lungs, such as rhinopharyngitis, laryngitis, flu, sinusitis, bronchitis, and pneumonia. It opens and disinfects the bronchial tract. It promotes lymph flow, and it is excellent for chronic coughs and tuberculosis. I'll tell you, it's a nice oil to just diffuse, especially during the winter months. And when I tire of that, I go to Raven. I love Raven. Raven is a blend of wintergreen and Ravensara and Eucalyptus radiata and lemon and peppermint. What a wonderful blend. This smells, oh, amazing, amazing. I can't even begin to describe. I wish we had smell vision so you could smell a bottle of Raven. I love it. If you haven't ever gotten a bottle of Raven, get yourself one just to love on it. It's highly antiviral and antiseptic. It's excellent for respiratory diseases such as tuberculosis, influenza, pneumonia, and sore throats. It too is an expectorant. It reduces inflammation of nasal and mucous membranes. It suppresses coughs, clears the lungs and nasal congestion, and it helps increase respiratory capacity, as does RC. And I was talking to you about fibrocystic disease and how that can help increase respiratory capacity, oxygenation of the body. Ravensara is a single oil, and that is one of the oils in Raven. And Ravensara is also very, very good for all these things. Melrose is a good oil as well. It regenerates damaged tissue. If you have damage in your lungs or the respiratory system due to an accident, this might be the oil blend for you. This is really, really good if you've had exposure to any radiation. It reduces inflammation. It too is antibacterial, antifungal, and antimicrobial. We use it a lot for cuts. Melrose is great for killing fungus. That's why this antifungal, I guess, you know, like toenail fungus. Virginia Bittner from Colorado said a friend called her one night and asked if she had anything for an earache. And she could hear her son crying in the background. So she came to the house and I gave her some Melrose. And she put it on the back of her son's ear and down the back of the jawbone. And he quit crying almost immediately and went down and went to sleep. Another thing that you can do for an ear infection is you could put a drop of Melrose on a cotton ball and put that cotton ball in the ear. Melrose or purification, both of them are good for that. So if you get an earache or an ear infection, use one of those oils. I think these would be a little bit too hot in an ear for a child. But you can dilute these, and you can do what she did with the what oil was that? Melrose, yeah. Put it down the back of his ear and the back of the jawbone, but I would dilute it, most definitely dilute it. So Thieves is one of those oils that we did a clinical study on in 1997 and found that it was effective against 60 different species of gram-negative and positive bacteria. It's also effective against 13 different fungi and 2 viruses. It was tested against herpes 1 and herpes 2, finding it to be able to kill those viruses. Now, those were the only viruses that it was tested against. And so I tend to believe that it is effective against any virus. And that's why Thieves is a must. While we're in a pandemic, when we're not in a pandemic, keeping that air bacterial and viral free. It also amplifies immunity because it has lemon in it. It promotes circulation and lymphatic function. It inhibits toxic mold. It is the #1 oil for killing mold. And when I do my Thieves class alone, I talk about studies that have been done by an environmental engineer, Dr. Edward Close, a friend of ours, and how effective Thieves is in killing mold. This is a must-have for families during the cold and flu season. Make sure that you're putting Thieves on the bottom of each foot every day for protection. It contains the oils of cinnamon, clove, rosemary, lemon, and eucalyptus. All right, so Thieves Household Cleaner. This contains the powerful Thieves blend, and it's a 100% plant mineral-based biodegradable cleaner. It complies with the Environmental Protection Agency standards, and it defends us against germs. It's supportive to the respiratory conditions. The thing with Thieves Cleaner is you can literally get rid of every other cleaner in your cabinet. Thieves is all we use in our home. Thieves is all we use. Sometimes I'll use lemon oil and water for my glass, and I use a Norwex glass cloth, but I don't use Windex. I don't use Mr. Clean. I don't use anything but Thieves and oils in my home. This is highly concentrated. 1 inch in the bottom of a 14.4 ounce bottle will give you a full bottle of cleaner. Not even an inch. Just a small amount in the bottom of that bottle, and then fill it up with water. It's concentrated. I can't remember. I think I teach in my Thieves class how many bottles you can get out of a big bottle, how many bottles you can get out of a 14.4 ounce bottle. I get the big 90 or 84 fluid ounce bottle because it's a refill, and then I keep refilling my smaller bottles. And once this smaller 14.4 bottle is empty, I put a sprayer on it. And that's how I clean everything, my counters, you know, the toilet, everything. I love using the sprayer and a damp rag, and I just wipe everything down. So bleach products are very harmful to the respiratory tract. Fumes can cause serious damage to the mucosal lining of airway passages and lungs, aggravating conditions such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, or obstructive lung disease, and can cause chemical pneumonia, as we already spoke of. Okay, so we also have Thieves lozenges. We have Thieves cough drops, which I would not be without. Where I mean, right here, my Thieves cough drops. There, I have them in my car. I usually get 2 bags at a time, and then I disperse them throughout. I'll put a couple in my pocketbook, not bags, but the lozenges, and they're great. In fact, it's a good idea to have one right now. Also, we have mouthwash, and we've been using the mouthwash ever since they came out with it. Gary says that it's good to swallow the mouthwash. I have problems with that just because, you know, my paradigm, I think you're supposed to swish your mouth and spit it out. But he says swallow it, and then that way those good oils that are in the mouthwash, the Thieves oils, will be good for the stomach, you know, be good for bacteria in the stomach. Oh yeah, kills 99.6% of bacteria. Pretty awesome. And then we have this awesome Thieves Chest Rub. And I will tell you, one of my gals got COVID early on, like in March of 2020, March or April. She had it so bad she was hospitalized. And I immediately sent her the Thieves Chest Rub. This is 100% plant-based. It's a formula that delivers analgesic action. It is a cough suppressant, and it's a topical analgesic, so it helps with pain, and it's maximum strength. It's very soothing for relieving coughs and congestion. It has these aromatic vapors. It's very much like you can remember Vicks Vapor Rub, except that Vicks Vapor Rub is 100% petrochemicals. Anything with Vaseline type of base, our Vaseline is petrochemicals. So they coat our receptor sites and they cause cell death and damage. We need to stay away from Vaseline type products and things like Vicks Vapor Rub. If you want a Vicks Vapor Rub, get Thieves Chest Rub. It is the best, bar none. It's a powerful combination of camphor and menthol and eucalyptus. And Thieves Chest Rub helps reduce cough and is safe to use on family members ages 2 and older. Here's a couple of testimonials. Jan Jordan from Texas said, this winter there had been a lot of respiratory viruses going around, and it has tried to get me twice. And at the first signs, I put RC on my chest and my back over the lung area and a drop or two on my throat on the outside topically. And both times I did this at night before going to bed, and the next morning, no sign of any respiratory virus. And Virginia from Texas says, we just love the Thieves oil blend. For colds and flu, go for Thieves. Sore throat, take a drop of Thieves in water and gargle it and swallow it. Or try the Thieves spray. I use that in my mouth. One spray does the trick. Thieves lozenges are great too, especially for the little ones. Oh, I had a granddaughter that I couldn't, these are the cough drops. The lozenges come in a yellow bag. I couldn't keep them around the house. She would eat them. I had to hide them. I put them in a little box and I put them up on top of my desk so she couldn't find them. She would just eat them like candy. Thieves cleaner is my cleaner for everything from cabinets and high chairs to all the bathroom fixtures, doorknobs, and dishes. Thieves toothpaste is a must and safe for the whole family. All right, I got to move on. Breathe Again roll-on. That's another good one. This comes in a roll-on. It relaxes the airways. It helps reduce coughs, makes breathing easier. It's anti-inflammatory because it has it actually has a carrier oil in it, so it's already diluted. It has coconut oil in it. It has Eucalyptus stagerania, Eucalyptus globulus, Laurel nobilis, which is bay, you know, like bay leaves. That's what Laurel nobilis is. It's bay. It has rose hip fruit oil. It has peppermint. It has Eucalyptus radiata. It has copaiba. I almost swallowed my lozenge. It has, which is a magnifier. It magnifies the action of all the other oils. It has myrtle, it has blue cypress, and it has eucalyptus blue. This was formulated by Gary, and it's a really nice oil blend. I thought I had one here. I think there's one in the living room. But yeah, it's a great oil blend. Okay, so moving on. So a really great way to get a good value is to get the Golden Touch 1 collection. This collection is 7 oils, and it has a lot of the respiratory oils that we were talking about tonight: Thieves, Raven, RC, and Melrose. But it also has a liver cleansing oil, Juvaflex. It has a thyroid balancing oil, Endoflex, and it has a digestive oil, Digize. So this is really a good value. You always get a better price on your oils when you buy a collection. So if you're wanting any of these oils, buy a collection. You're going to save a lot of money. You're going to get probably 2 or 3 of those oils for free because of the fact that it's in a collection and you get a better value. Another thing that you can do is you can go out to Amazon or do a little Google on inhalers. These, back in the day when I was growing up, we had Vicks inhalers, and they were just these little tubes that you put up your nose and you breathed in the Vicks vapor. Well, you can put your favorite essential oils in here, and I love putting Raven in there because I love the smell of Raven. These are great for carrying around the aroma of your favorite essential oil without having to take the whole bottle. And it's small enough that it easily fits in any purse or a pocket or a bag, so they're perfect for taking with you or traveling. They're ideal for giving away samples of your favorite essential oils. You put 6 drops on the wick inside the inhaler, and it will last for 6 months. It's amazing how long these little inhalers last. Pam used to call these nose rockets. I used to think that was hilarious. Nose rockets, but they're inhalers. So look up inhalers and you can get a bag of like 12 for $2.99. I mean, they're cheap, cheap, cheap. So they really are a great way to share oils. Make sure you're diffusing. Most people started out with the home diffuser Desert Mist. That is like half price now. It's $29.95 if you buy a, and you should have one for every room, especially if you have a guest bedroom, have one in there and then fire it up when the guests come. My Aria ultrasonic is behind me. I have it on my filing cabinet back there. And I love that one. I cleaned it the other day. It needed it. And I love the Aromalux if you're really needing pure essential oil in the air without water. That's if you are suffering from a chronic or acute respiratory infection, you need to be diffusing that oil in a pure oil diffuser. If you have mold in your house or in your basement, you need to be diffusing that room with a pure oil diffuser. The water diffusers won't cut it. So this is the Aromalux, and they are available at Young Living again. All right, so we're going to quickly run through 90 days of healthy respiratory. First of all, make sure that you have your wholesale membership so that you're getting 24% off on everything that you ever decide you want to purchase. And all you have to do is enroll. Your enroller will have a member number. You enroll with that, sponsor an enroller number, and then you place your order and boom, you're good to go. You don't have to sign up to give away your firstborn or sell the farm or anything like that to become a member. Most of the people that come in, they come in with a premium starter kit because it has 12 oils and it comes with a free diffuser. And you get 2 packets of Ningxia Red with it. You get a Thieves hand sanitizer. You get a Thieves spray with it. You get Thieves oil in the kit. The oils in this kit are just really, really versatile. You get peppermint and lavender and lemon and panaway and, oh gosh, digize, all kinds of really good oils. So that is a really good way to start if you're wondering how to start. Otherwise, if you know what you want to buy, do that. Another way that you can start is by getting on a subscribe to save, which means that this is a monthly order that you can set up to be shipped every 1, 2, or 3 months. And you can change that anytime you want. When you sign up for subscribe to save, you earn points back that you can spend on product later on. For example, in the first 4 months, you'll get 10% back on everything that you order through your subscribe to save, and those points will accumulate, and then you can make a separate order, a separate shop order, and use your points, and it'll only cost you shipping. And that's really, really great because some of us, we earn 25%. After 4 months, it goes up to 20% rebate. And then after 24 months, it goes up to 25%, and it stays at 25% for the rest of your life. So you're getting a 24% discount and you're getting 25% back in rebate points. It doesn't get any better than that. And you get free shipping every single time you order 100 PV or more. In subscribe to save, they have discounted pricing on exclusive product packages that you can't get through a regular shop order. Just saying. You'll never run out of products if you have a reoccurring subscribe to save. You'll always have what you need on hand. And I make sure that, some products I have a couple of things. Like I might have 4 bottles of shampoo in my cabinet because I don't want to run out and I don't want to have to order it every other month. I just want it on the shelf. And when I'm ready to order, when it gets down to 2 bottles, I'll order it. The same thing with my Thieves laundry soap. I keep a full bottle on the shelf. And then when I use that bottle, I order another bottle. I always have, you got to plan ahead. But anyway, so let's look at some of the things that you can start with. Now, if you are a Thieves lover, there is a Thieves premium starter kit out there that will give you everything that you need in the way of Thieves. It will give you 2 bottles of household cleaner. It will give you 2 bottles of the foaming hand soap, which we love in the bathroom and in the kitchen. It'll give you 2 bottles of the hand sanitizer and 2 bottles of the spray. It'll give you a bottle of 2 toothpaste, Thieves toothpaste, and a bottle of the mouthwash. It's just a really, really good value. And this you can get on Subscribe to Save. There are a couple of different packages. Look at both the Thieves Premium Starter Kit and then look at the Thieves Bundle. And that is a great way to start if you're really interested in Thieves. You'll also get a 15 ml bottle of Thieves. Another thing to put on your Subscribe to Save is this Golden Touch one that I was talking about. And maybe add a bottle of Raven Sarah and a bottle of Eucalyptus globulus so that you can make cough syrup anytime that need arises. I mean, if you have grandkids or kids or neighbors that you talk to, have this on hand. And if they have a bout of something, share it with them and you'll make them a believer. And you can share oils with every household in the world. Here's another suggestion for a Subscribe to Save or a monthly order. Again, remember, you change it every month unless you want the same thing every month. And there are some things that I keep on my order every month. Ningxia Red is on there. You know, there's just some things. So this has the cough drops and then peppermint oil, Eucalyptus radiata, Hyssop, and Melrose. That's a really great Subscribe to Save. That's going to give you free shipping. Each one of these that I'm showing you is going to give you free shipping because it's 100 PV. And we pretty much worked it out to be 100 or more PV. And here's another monthly suggestion, getting a bottle of Raven, a bottle of Thieves, a bottle of RC, and a bottle of Breathe Again. You can get those all. And this is a good way to learn about your oils. Try a new oil every month or try a couple of new oils every month. Step 3, avoid toxic chemicals in your home. Avoid room deodorizers, scented candles, over-the-counter medications, and fragrant laundry products. Laundry detergents are toxic. Dryer sheets are toxic. Embrace an air filtration system, non-toxic household cleaning products, diffusing Young Living essential oils, and natural healing with Young Living. Here are a couple of resources. Make sure you get yourself an essential oils desk reference. And I recommend the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th edition. I'm not crazy about the new one. It is just too big. And a lot of times you can get these used. Look on eBay, see if you can find a desk reference. You know, save some money. I want to thank you all for being on. I know we went 15 minutes over tonight. I want to welcome you to the wonderful world of Young Living, having a healthier life with every breath. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to stop my recording. If I can find my recording.